Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. Let's maybe just have a short introduction, and you can tell everybody a little about who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Lucien. I'm Dutch actually, but I'm living in Luxembourg at the moment, where I have several companies. First of all, I have a normal real estate agency. So we are doing rentals and sales for clients. So we are not buying and selling ourselves. It's just like an intermediary. This is one business, and the side businesses I created because of the main company. When we started the company, we needed signs and displays in the window and like goodies and everything, and I couldn't find a company that could do that properly for a normal price. So that's why I created a company like that.
That's cool.
We are delivering almost every real estate agency in Luxembourg with our signs and displays, window displays. So yeah, I'm really happy that it worked out. It was a big success.
What is the current status in Luxembourg? Is it up or down because of the pandemic?
I think at the moment it's in Luxembourg it's booming.
Oh, really?
A lot, yeah. It's really, the market is going crazy. Prices are still going up, and people really want to sell.
Do you have enough houses to sell, or?
In Luxembourg, we are the only real estate business which is taking a limited number of listings.
Only the good houses, the good stuff.
Only the good houses, yeah.
Yeah.
The good houses, which does not mean that it has to be expensive houses or houses that we sell quickly. But yeah, good houses, you can describe it like that. Good in different ways.
What makes you happy in your job?
It's different things. Different things. I think what makes me happy is to see the business grow, not like grow in like money grow, but getting it more important outside and people referring to the business as a quality business, and then happy people.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing that all business have is the customers, and a lot of businesses forget that.
And happy employees.
If you have happy customers, then the employees, normal employees, would be happy too. It has a lot to do with one thing with the other thing.
Yeah, they're connected.
Everything that I do makes me happy at this moment. And I think the moment I wake up in the morning twice in a row and I say, I don't like to go to work, or I don't want to, I'm not like into this today. I don't really want to go to the office. That's the moment that you have to do something else.
But sometimes I wake up, I don't feel like working today. You never feel like that?
Yeah, but if it's one day, it's one day. That's okay.
Yeah, maybe it's 2 days.
Yeah, but if you think that for a week, what would you do? Of course, there is always difficult times and some things you don't want to do. But if you don't want to do the job in general, then I'm like, yeah, this was a great chapter in my life, and I will move on to something else. And
yeah, then you would set things in motion. You know, I actually did that.
Yeah, you did that too.
Yeah.
You are the best example.
Yeah. So after a while, that was after maybe 13 years, I was thinking that I wanted to experience some new things. And long story short, I ended up selling the company, and I did a lot of traveling. And that was actually one of the only things I really wanted to do. I just wanted to travel. I was thinking about starting a company, but every day I was just thinking about new places and, you know, new countries I really just wanted to experience. I wasn't thinking about anything else. I just wanted to go travel because I felt so free when I traveled. And if you experience a time in your life where you actually don't want to do what you're doing, and you can't see yourself doing that in 5 years from now or 2 years from now, then you should do something actively and change direction. That's what I did. And I'm so happy about that choice. There's a lot of things that I miss because there's a lot of good things from the old direction I was in. But if you at some point experience that you're not on the right path, then you should do something about it and try to get on the right path.
That's correct. Yeah, that's what I thought of doing. And for the moment, I'm still very happy. And maybe I will do this for the rest of my life. And maybe I will do something else tomorrow. You never know, but you don't have to limit yourself to think that you could only do this or to think that you could do nothing else.
Yeah, and if you're really happy about what you're doing, it just means that you're on the right path, and that's perfect.
Yeah, maybe I never looked at it like that, in that way, but yeah, maybe you're right.
So you moved to Luxembourg a long time ago. When was that?
I moved from Holland to Luxembourg in 2000.
Yeah.
So it's like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm awesome. 34 now, so 14 years in Holland and 20 years in Luxembourg.
Yeah. So how was it to grow up in two different countries?
It was very different. So these are two countries which are actually quite close to each other, but the difference is huge in several different ways. So it's really good that I saw the two sides. Yeah. I learned a lot in both countries. And I'm happy that my parents moved here so I could have the experience of living in two countries and working in one of the most beautiful countries in the world, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have been traveling a lot, so you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's how we met, more than 2 years ago, when I was for not the first time, but I think the second time in Denmark. And this is where we met the first time. And after that, I think we met in a lot of countries.
You know, I love traveling as well. So that's a really awesome thing to have the opportunity to travel. I know that you speak a lot of different languages, and I can't keep track of all the languages that you speak. So what languages do you actually speak?
Well, I especially understand a lot of languages. I speak like fluently English, Dutch, German, French, and Luxembourgish. Yeah, that's a language too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I understand Portuguese, most of it, and Spanish and Italian.
Yeah, that's nice. But I think from what I understand in Luxembourg, you learn a lot of languages, and even when you're in school, you learn a lot of languages. So what are the main languages in Luxembourg?
Well, we have 3 official languages, which are learned in primary school already. That's Luxembourgish, German, and French.
Yeah.
So if you go to primary school in Luxembourg, you speak, you will speak the 3 languages when you are like 12 years old, more or less.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
Yeah, this is the big advantage of Luxembourg, and also because the neighboring countries speak the languages that you speak in Luxembourg, so you can go wherever you want and you understand everybody or do business with people living in another countries, and you speak the same language. So
yeah, that's amazing. I don't know how you can keep track of all those languages. Is it tough or?
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to switch, and you if you are in a language. So if I'm speaking German, like for a couple of hours, then you are in the language, and it's very easy then. And it's the same with French.
Yeah, you settle into it, and
yes. You don't speak the languages every day, but if you start with it, then after a while you will be perfectly fine of speaking it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So just before we leave all the traveling and language stuff, 1 year you traveled a lot. Was it 52 countries or?
Yeah, well, I set myself a goal to travel to 52 countries in 1 year. I wanted to do 1 a week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was a crazy year. I saw a lot of things and I learned a lot of things, met a lot of people.
Yeah.
What I did, so I went on 58 trips outside of Luxembourg.
Wow.
And I
amazing.
did Yes, yes. But it was a year that I took off of work, so I was doing it full time, and you have to do it full time,
Yeah.
otherwise you will not make it. And I did 45 countries, so I missed the goal.
Ah, only 45.
Yes, only 45, so I have to redo it one
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Yeah, but that's just still amazing. I mean, that's never going to happen again. But now you don't need to because you've been to all those amazing countries. So it must have been, all the memories that you collected are for a lifetime.
Yeah, and actually during this very special time that we are living in at the moment, I had a lot of opportunities to look back at pictures,
Mm,
talking to friends that I met in that time. So it was like now 1.5 year ago, 1 year ago.
yeah,
So now I really enjoyed the time of really looking back, which I
yeah.
didn't have the time for when I was traveling.
I
So it,
feel exactly the same. Only I didn't travel to 45 countries. I had a goal of being in a new country every month, which I did. So that was like 12, 13 travels last year in different countries. And to me, that was that was a lot. I don't even know if I could have done 40. I mean, that's too much. But anyway, even with the 12 countries, I think all those memories that I now have, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to travel like that, and I have those memories to look back on now where I can't travel, and I really miss traveling now. I guess you do too, but and if we could have traveled, we'd probably be in the same room right now. But
yes, and we would speak together face to face. I think
yeah,
we both would love to do that.
yeah,
So either you would travel to Luxembourg or I would travel to Denmark.
yeah,
Um, but what I wanted to say is that yeah, I didn't set the goal of going to 52 countries. Actually, what I did was that I traveled to 12 countries in the first 12 weeks, and then I say, well, let's do 52 in 52 weeks.
yeah.
So it was in the beginning, it was more like I was kidding, but after a few months, I was like, oh, I did almost 25 countries now, or 30 countries in half a year. So maybe I could reach the goal, really.
I know you traveled a lot with Roundtable, but did you also travel outside Roundtable or?
Yes. So the 45 countries were not only roundtable countries. So it was also holidays, because if you travel a lot, of course, you need some holidays.
That's insane. I know it. I know. Sometimes when you're traveling a lot, you actually get really tired of being in airports and
That, that's for sure, and people don't understand. They said, "Well, but you were just away, and now you need a holiday. What are you doing?"
yeah,
So it was really funny to
yeah,
talk to people.
yeah.
And also, when I posted pictures on Facebook or social media, people would say, "But you were not in. You were in India last week, and now you are in South Africa. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
That was, yeah,
Almost hard to believe.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, that's so awesome. Well done. That's really cool.
I think I learned more in a year than I learned in the 30 years before.
How did you manage to run your companies but also travel like this? I understand that they are your companies, but I mean, still, you need to keep them running.
Yeah, so the goal to travel was already there like 2 years before I started. So I had 2 years to explain to my staff that they're gonna be alone for a while.
Hmm.
And I think they did a really great job, and they learned a lot by themselves, and it helped them also to get to the next level. And um, yeah, of course, there are things going wrong or things where they really needed to speak to me, but I was always available, and yeah, I would also answer messages every day. So I was away, but I did help them where I could.
What was needed for you to run the company? Just like everybody's doing now, because of the COVID-19 situation, as online meetings and everything remote, or yeah, but you also yeah, but then again, you were back many times in between the travels, so
I
that's
was
when you
back,
yeah
yes. So, but yeah, still. phone calls, and I give them a lot of freedom and space to decide themselves what to do and what they thought was best for the company. So uh, I was expecting, I would not say the worst, but I was expecting less than what they did. So
So you're
was
positively surprised.
yes, very positively. Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's a really natural concern that that employees would have difficulties to perform if the CEO is not there, because we hear this all the time, that it's expected that the leader should be there before everybody meets at the office and stay, so that when people leave, the leader is still there. And I don't agree necessarily on this, but that's like a thing that is common, and it's a good advice for CEOs, to just be visible all the time. So you have a different experience. How did you manage that? What was the response when you were away?
Well, I think you have to be honest with your people that work for you. So when you say that you are gone, I said to them that I would be gone for a year, but I was still available and I was here more than they thought I was. So that's positive. And what you say is that depends on also on the staff that you have. If you have staff that want to see the CEO getting in and getting out, getting in as the first person and getting out as the last one, yeah. But I think my staff is more that they want to see what I do,
Yeah. Yeah,
and they
because you would, I mean, people would be able to be more autonomous to when the CEO is not there. I mean, when you are there, at least when I'm there with my employees, I would always be more intervening in stuff. And they would probably also ask me more just because I'm there. So there are some benefits from actually not being there.
this is one positive thing. And I think to answer the first question, I would personally would love to see what the CEO is doing. So like to see results instead of getting him in the office and getting and seeing him getting out of the office in the middle of the night
You're right.
without knowing what he was doing all day. If I don't see
Yeah.
results.
He was
So
sleeping in his office behind the
yeah,
curtains.
that's what I would think.
Yeah.
So I'm more like a result oriented
That's the way it
person.
should
So
be. Yeah.
yeah. So if they see, okay, he's not there in the office all the time, but he's working like crazy, then yeah.
Yeah, I think this is like a misunderstanding that the good CEO is somebody who sits there at the chair and desk all day, and nobody knows what he's doing or she's doing. And instead, we should be focused on the results that we produce, not only for the leadership, but also for the employees. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're 2 hours or 3 hours on your chair if you produce the same result. Actually, it would be better if you're only 2 hours, because then you would be more efficient. And that's also one of the things that that I'm thinking about. How can people have a balance in their life, between private life and also their work life? So as long as we have these understandings that people should be at the office from 9 to 5 every day, or earlier and later.
It's not working anymore, because if you
Yeah,
have to be there from 9 to 5, even if you could do the work in like 2 hours, you will still just like take it slowly because you have this 8 hours to do all the work. So, and this is very bad for the employee and also for the CEO.
yeah. Why do you think it's bad? And I know why I think, but I'm really interested in your perspective.
Because I will tell you a story of a company CEO that I know very well, and he was very quality orientated. So the first of all was quality, and after that it was the rest. So what he said he was in construction. He installed windows. So he said to the team, listen, this is your job for today. You make enough money to do it in a day. So you have to do it in a day. If they were done like at 1 or 2 in the afternoon, they had two choices. They could go home early, or they could do another job. and get paid double.
Hmm.
So this is a motivation for the employee.
Yeah.
So he could do more work or going home. And other employees would say, well, you could do another job in the afternoon, but he would not get more money. So he would be demotivated to work more, because if he works more, he gets punished by more work.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, but the quality was worse. So he said, if you are finished at 1 o'clock and the client is happy, then you can do another job if you want, or go home.
That's really awesome. Actually, you are explaining exactly what I'm going to talk about in a later podcast, because I invited a really clever guy. He's an author of a book here in Denmark, and he's actually writing about stuff like that. If you're actually rewarded with the opportunity to choose if you want to have more spare time or if you want to earn more money. So that's a really good way of motivating people. And he says the exact same thing, that if the job takes 2 hours and you get 8 hours, then the job will take 8 hours.
Yes.
If you get 3 hours, it will take 3 hours. It's actually a punishment if you finish your job and then just have to do more work.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's right.
How do you work with these things in your company? Can you do that? Because I guess in not all companies it would be possible to just give the person another job that would actually make sense. You can always find more things to do, but would it also create more? How would it create more value for the company as well?
Yeah, well, over here we have several systems. So they will get more money for a better job, or they will get, they can take spare time. So I say, if you are sitting in the office, you have nothing to do, then don't say sit in the office. You can do something you like. You can read a book or something you want to do,
At
but
the
don't,
office.
or at home.
Yeah, but would if you come into the office and somebody's reading a book, how would you honestly respond to that?
Depends on the book.
Yeah. If it's a book you like, then it's like, whoa, good job. If
No,
it's something you don't like,
I think at least they do something good. So
Yeah.
if they were just sitting there or doing their nails, or I don't know, just doing stuff which has nothing to do with the job or with their personal know-how of things, then I would say, what are you doing here? Just go home and do that at home.
And how would I would be a little, I would think my initial response would be that I would be just slightly disappointed. But that would mean that I don't know if they actually finish their job, the tasks. If they finish their tasks, then I could probably find something else that was important to do as well.
I think they do that, but you don't have to like punish them, like I said. So if they work like crazy and they did all the jobs that they could do like earlier than planned, then I would give them the half a day off.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's the right thing to do. I'm just trying to figure out if that's actually what I would have done. I hope so. How does that work in your company? So you're in real estate and you're also in related businesses. But in the real estate company, I think that would work perfectly, because then you could say, okay, when you sell this house, then you're finished for today, right? Or the tasks that leads up to
the sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's really hard to control your employees, because they are out.
Yeah.
They are not in the office. If they're doing their job, they are out. If they're in the office, it's bad.
Okay.
So if they are here, I send them out.
Yeah.
So it's hard to you really have to have faith in your employees and trust them, that they are not sitting at lunch for 3-4 hours. If it's a business lunch, of course, with a client, but it's harder than normal businesses. And you don't. How can I explain that? You are not. as you can do a very easy sell or a hard sell. Can be easy and hard. So it's not easy to measure the what you put into a deal or not. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to trust. You just have to
Yeah.
trust the employees that they are doing everything they can.
Yeah, and you know that in the way they talk to you, in the way they treat you, if they are honest or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't really have people on your team that are not honest, that you cannot trust. So you just have to build a team where that trust is there, right?
Yes.
But that
And
trust doesn't come, from day one, or does it? Are you just by default trusting 100%, and then they
yes,
have to prove that they're not worthy of the trust?
yes.
Or is it the other way around?
No, I would never do the other way around. I think this is not fair.
Okay. You have a
And
point.
I think if you go that way, then you are, of course, you are getting disappointed sometimes. But if you go the other way around and you say, like, I don't trust this guy or girl until she proves or he proves himself, then you're going in a negative way. You start in a negative way. I
You're
like to
right.
start in a positive way. And I'm quite like that. This is where we go back to traveling. I saw so many different people, so many different religions, so many different cultures. So you get a feeling of people and how they react and what they do and where you should watch out for. So I would love to start in a positive way, and I'm quickly in seeing if this is a good match or a not so good match.
Yeah, and anyway, life is too short to start it from a negative perspective. I mean,
Yes.
it's really too short.
And of course, if you start positive, then you will get hurt. And this is not only in business, but also in private life. Yes. But this is the way I like to do it.
I want to ask you why you started your own business and why you just didn't choose to, get a job and work for someone else.
I had one job for another guy, and actually he was the best boss I could imagine. He was I could do everything I wanted. I was like my own boss inside his company,
That sounds perfect.
and still I left. The reason why is because I was punished by sitting in the office. I did my job in like 1 hour or 2 hours, and then I had to sit there. And I discussed this with him like multiple times.
So what we talked about earlier is actually something that you experienced yourself.
Yes. And he said, you could do this. And I said, I already done that. I would not do this every day. Like it's crazy. I said to him, it's never been done. I do this now every week. So it's quite good. And he said he was never there. So he couldn't give me like more work and there wasn't more work. So I did it like, within 2 hours. And then I was sitting the rest of the day looking at the stock market. So I was still doing something for myself. So, and I said I was allowed. He said like, yeah, you can do that. You can just be there in case something happens. But if you want to do something else, then so this was like I was like, why should I do this all my life? Like working for 2 hours and just like being bored for 6 hours until the time I can get home. And then I thought, and I was quite young. I started my own business when I was 20. So I was like, why should I do this all my life? I have the energy now. I want to get rid of my energy. And I want to put it in something that I can build up and say, this is something that I did and I created from scratch.
Makes sense. So there's a lot of risk when you decide to start your own company or go your own way. How did you feel about that?
Well, I think when you start young, I don't know how it is when you are older, but I think when you start young, you have two things that are quite good to start a business. You are quite naive. So that
I
means
agree.
you don't think about the risk. Not that much.
I had the exact same thing when I started my company. I know for a fact I was relatively naive, so I didn't think about the risks.
So now you think about the risk more because you were in the
Yeah,
business and you know what can happen.
exactly.
You maybe saw some competitors or friends having problems or having done things differently. So yeah, now I see that also all the time, but now I'm in the business, so
Yeah, different
can't go
thing. Yeah.
back. But the other thing is that I was like, I don't have anything right at the moment. I don't have a girlfriend, no children. I have all the time to put in the business, so it probably can't go wrong. And if it goes wrong, I have all my life to build up another life, working for somebody else or doing something I like, or
Mm,
if
makes
you start
sense.
a business at 50 years old, or 55 years old, then you think differently. You think about the future. You think about, listen, I still have to work 10 to 15 years until I get retired. What should I do? Should I take the risk? I think I was very lucky that I started young and naive, but very creative.
The best combination.
If you use it right, it's good. My dad was independent, so he was having his own business, and I grew up with it, and I was in the business of my father. Like he had a business in Holland, and so I was there almost every day. So, and I loved it. I didn't see all the hard work he did. Of course not. You
No.
don't see that if you are a child, but you see the good things,
Yeah.
and I like the good things. And yeah, I wanted to do something myself and to put as many hours in there as I wanted. So sometimes it's 1 hour a day, and sometimes it's 24 hours.
Now it's like that still?
Yeah,
Yeah. That
good.
sounds really interesting. It's actually something that I'm trying to do as well because we talked about how you should actually leave the office if you're not efficient. But if you stay at the office, then you just waste those hours. But what that means is that you would actually have to make the decision to go to your office and maybe stay there for 1 hour and then leave again, which is very unnatural for a lot of people. Also for me, because now I'm getting more used to it. Sometimes I work maybe only 2 hours. Other days I work 12 hours in a row without break, almost. And the days vary a lot. But has it always been like this for you? And is it easy for you to do it like that?
Well, if I talk for the employees and maybe also for me. If you are in an office working 8 hours a day, with or without work, you have this routine. And if you go out of the office, if you don't have work, if you work for 2 hours and you have to sit here for 8 hours, so 6 hours more, you go out of the office, you are happy to go out, and you don't like to go back the next morning. But if you could go out and just do something for yourself, like going for a run, going to have a walk, or just do something else, just go shopping or have a cup of coffee in some restaurant, you will get other inputs from outside, and it will help you in the night when you are working from home, or it will help you the next day to maybe do some things with the inputs that you got the day before.
Yeah, I
And I
totally
think
agree. Yeah.
if you just stay in the office looking at the same wall for 6 hours, there is no input.
Yeah, you're right.
It's always the same wall.
Yeah, you're right. But has it always been like this for you from the time where you started yourself or?
No, I think when I was young, I was in the office. I thought I had to be in the office. And we started without any stuff, without any people around us. So I wasn't in the office for the people around me. I was just there for myself, and I thought that I should work all day in order to get profitable business or a business which is,
You should be in the grind 24/7 to do
yes,
something for the business.
yes.
I did that the first time around in my first company. I was, 12, 15 hours a day, maybe even more some days. I was focused on the company. But I don't, I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think it's better to do, like you said, sometimes to just go out and do something else, get some other inputs, because I think that would actually, you would be feeling more energized and more ready to, more focused to do actual stuff, to do actual work, and to be more efficient and focused. But I don't think that it's a common way of looking at things, and I don't think that it's allowed in many places. Even though that nobody told me I had to be in the office 8 hours a day, I did that because I wanted to be there for my employees if they needed me, but I also wanted to be there to, every day to like be the example. But now I would do it differently. Now I would actually promote the idea of maybe taking a break halfway the day, and maybe take out 1 hour that I would spend on something for myself, like maybe being with my wife or my daughter for 1 hour in the middle of the day. That would be amazing. Then I would be really happy, and then I would be more focused on job. I would know that everything is okay back home, and then I could go back to work and be efficient again and actually do something good in the company, or maybe just stay home.
So you are not concentrated if you're staying for more than 3 hours behind the screen and just look at the screen or do something. So, but when you were in the office, you were there for your employees. Were the employees coming in to ask you questions, or you were really there just to?
All the time, yeah.
Yeah. So this is
That's
something
also a problem, I think.
that's the biggest problem. If you are there, it's very easy to go to your office and just ask questions.
They would rather ask me questions because they knew that I had the answer, than actually figuring it out themselves. And that's a problem because that doesn't really, they get to a certain point with their skills, and they don't get better because they just ask me if there's a problem. And that way you are involuntarily kind of micromanaging people, which is not something that I believe in.
I felt like the external hard disk of all the employees. So they just could come to me, and they knew that I know the answer. But if
it feels good that you know the answer, you feel kind of good that you could just tell them, but then you realize it's not a good idea.
No, because they will come back in 3 weeks because they forgot the answer. If you tell them the answer, they say, okay, this is what I needed. So they complete the job which was important for the answer. But if they got the same question like three weeks from there, half of the employees would forget. So I always said, I don't know. And if I was traveling the year, that was even better because I wasn't reachable. I said, if you have a question, then just write it down in a piece of paper. And if you still have the question the next morning, you can ask me if I know the answer. But then, if the answer was easily traceable on Google or something, then yeah, I would be angry. You should probably give them like 2-3 jokers in a month and say, if you really cannot find it, then you can ask me. But you have 2-3 jokers.
I think that we should finish off the podcast for today.
That's good.
If people want to follow you, where can they find you?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and it will be down the screen, I think, right? After the podcast. Yeah, you can do that.
I'll drop a link so they can find you. Good. Thank you so much for this interview, this talk today. I really enjoyed it. And I learned a lot from you today as well. So
you're very welcome.